So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and hope you had a happy holiday. Welcome back to the channel. Why I love the Google Pixel 3. Now, I actually did get this case right here just yesterday as a gift. Shout out to my loved one. If you're watching this video, thank you. You can get this case right on Amazon for about $39.99. I'll leave the link down below, but let me discuss why I actually love this smaller one a little bit more than the larger device. And I've had it for about 2 months, so this can serve as like a 2-month video. If you were wondering, like, what's the update on your Pixel 3? You're doing all these iPhones, you're doing all these other phones. I want to know a little bit more about how the Pixel 3 has been going for you, because a lot of people have been trash talking this phone left and right. And yes, it did have issues at first. The December update fixed most of those issues I was having. So we're going to begin by talking about the build. You know, why I love the build of this phone. Okay, so when it comes to the build, I really like the build of this phone, mostly the body size. I wouldn't say that it's the, most premium feeling phone in the hand, but they went away from that more plastic feeling back of the Pixel 2 series, and there's glass at the top. And overall, it just has a sleek, smooth feel. Yes, if you get the black one, scratches will show, but you can easily just go ahead and remove them by wiping them down. That's not a cool touch, but at the same time, I really just love the size of this phone when it comes to its body and the lightness, the weight of it. That's one of my favorite things about it. I don't think it's the most durable feeling phone out there. It's definitely not the most sexiest phone out of the bunch this year, but out of all the flagships, it's probably the smallest, more compact feeling phone you can get, and even smaller feeling than the iPhone XS, which is a 5.8. This one right here is a 5.5 inch screen, and it's also an OLED screen. So 1080p is enough at this size to give you a decent pixels per inch. Overall, I really just love the size of this phone. It's been great. And with this case, it definitely needs a case like this because it's super slippery without one. So overall, I really enjoyed that over my 2 months with the Pixel 3. Now, when it comes to its design over 2 months, I wouldn't say I super love the design. That's not what I love about this phone. I think it's a pretty basic design, quite honestly, compared to some of the other phones out there, but it's minimal and it's going for, kind of what Google's philosophy is with the software, and that's to keep it pretty bare bones, pretty stock and simplistic. So the phone is not going to stand out. Nobody's going to look at this phone and say, hey, that's a good looking phone. What phone is that? No. People are going to say, you got a Pixel? Why didn't you get an iPhone? And then you're going to explain to them the features you like the picture-in-picture mode, the squeeze to activate Google Assistant, the software is where this phone shines, not so much the design. However, I do think it's utilitarian and practical, and if you don't care about being flashy, I think it's a very comfortable and just gets the job done kind of design. Now, where I really do love this phone is software. First of all, I gotta mention one of my favorite things about the Pixels is the wallpaper selection. It's got some of the best looking wallpapers I see on any Android phone, and so many options, and this is just something small I like about the software. You can download this app on pretty much any Android phone, but the Pixel does include a couple of its own living universe wallpapers. I just love the wallpapers on here. Anyway, back to the software itself. It runs Android 9 Pie, and it's going to get the latest updates. It always does over every other Android phone. And out of all the Android phones I've used this year, this one is the most simplistic to use. You just swipe up and you go into your applications. It's very logical to just swipe up and alphabetically in your mind, just go all the way down to all the way to the last letter in the alphabet. It just kind of makes sense. And I really do like that. One thing I don't like about it is this little pause here between the multitasking and the app drawer. I think that could be a little bit worked on and a little bit smoother. Sometimes I'll try to go into the apps and I'll accidentally just open this, or I'll try to go vice versa. I'll try to go into the multitasking and I'll open this. So sometimes that gets on my nerves, but overall, I just like the minimal feel of the software. Very nice here for the Pixel 3, and everything's super smooth, very reminiscent of some other phones, and you know which ones I'm talking about. These phones are super smooth in the Pixel series. They're not the fastest. They're not OnePlus fast feeling. They're just smooth, and a lot of people might enjoy that smooth feel. So do I love it when it comes to performance? And the answer to that question is yes, and mostly because it just performs well. It's got a Snapdragon 845. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's pretty much the latest and greatest specs of 2018, and it has Google software. Now, again, when this phone first came out, it had some multitasking issues. Things were crashing left and right. Since my December update, I haven't been having any crashes, and now it runs like a 2018 phone should. I've gotten to a point now where I feel like even if you get a phone that's like $300, it's still going to be fast these days. Phones have reached that point where they're getting fast enough where we don't even really need to look at speed as the main priority when buying a smartphone, because they all do that well. So performance is fine for me on the Pixel 3. I wouldn't pick this phone based on having the best performance, because it definitely doesn't have that, but I would pick it if you're still looking for a good performer with the other factors that you might like about the Pixel 3. Okay, let's get on to the thing I really love about the Pixel 3, and that is the camera. Beginning with the rear camera, what an incredible piece of technology you get here in this camera. Now, it definitely doesn't have the most impressive hardware, but what it does impress you with is you'll just snap a picture, and 9 times out of 10 over almost any phone on the market, it's gonna do what you want it to do. It doesn't necessarily become a showstopper when it comes to the hardware, but it definitely does give you that computational photography that you are looking for with this device. So really good stuff here when it comes to the rear camera. The software definitely works well. Video, you have more over here. Night sight is incredible. And another thing about the Pixel 3 is the front camera is actually pretty good as well. It's an 8 megapixel f1.8 and it's 28 millimeters wide. But the thing is the computational photography on the front camera also gives you pretty incredible photos. When you just snap, it kind of knows what to do. But I don't want to talk too much more about it. You know about the Pixel camera already. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of my samples and let me know your thoughts on the Google Pixel 3. So when it comes to the battery life with the Google Pixel 3, I thought at first that I wasn't going to get any good battery life at all, but I was quite shocked to report that I was able to get through a day with this phone. Now, it has terrible standby battery life, so you definitely have to charge this one overnight. I literally will go to bed with 99%, wake up with 59. So I'd keep this thing on the charger overnight because I don't know what's going on with the standby. But in terms of usage throughout the day, I was able to get through mostly one day, but I was pretty low on battery by the end of the day. I was definitely in the red, definitely with the warning signs your battery's about to die. So one thing about the Pixel 3 is that the audio does have dual front firing speakers. They're one of the last phones to be doing this. Most people are integrating it within to the top, or most manufacturers are integrating within the top earpiece also on the bottom here. But the Pixel line has stayed stubborn in keeping it on the front, and this is what's creating these bigger bezels that you see on the Pixel devices. So audio people who do like it firing from the front, it's a really nice experience on the Pixel. I found it to be plenty loud enough, but I actually would trade a sleeker design for having these speakers on the bottom and maybe integrated within the earpiece. I think that would be better, even though this is a nice touch to have it firing right at you. Speaker performance is fine on here. Audio performance, Bluetooth 5.0, no problems with the Bluetooth. I haven't had no Bluetooth issues, and overall audio is pretty similar to most other phones. I just think it's a little bit better if you like your audio coming off the front of the phone. You will definitely enjoy the Pixel 3, but it was plenty loud enough in my experience. It's not something I say I love this phone about, because I would have rather had the design come all the way down instead of having a speaker right here at the bottom. So I actually love this phone in terms of call quality too, because not only did it have good reception, I had no drop calls on this phone. The audio out these speakers sounded pretty good. My reception overall wasn't bad for the Pixel 3. And also the small size made it feel like that traditional pocket size smartphone you're used to versus all these new, bigger, larger smartphones. So this is a great little phone for using it as a phone. It reminds you of the older days when phones were a little bit smaller. That's how light and smaller the Pixel 3 actually is. It's pretty narrow and light. So definitely love this phone as just a pure phone calling machine. It was really fun to use. And that's pretty much it here with the Google Pixel 3. That's why I love this phone. Many of the reasons I mentioned in this video. I don't love the price though of this phone. $799 is not the cheapest entry, and some could argue you can get the XR for that price point. But I think there's some benefits over the iPhone XR, like the OLED screen, like having just as many updates basically. Well, not quite as long, but it's an Android phone that's going to give you updates well into the future like the XR. A lighter size, more compact feel than that device. So there are some benefits to this phone. It's a pretty tough call here, but if you are looking for one, I would recommend maybe finding it used. If you go and find it on third party, it probably would be no issue for you. The Pixel 3 is a pretty stellar phone for me, but not everybody are feeling this. So let me know your thoughts about the Google Pixel 3 down below in the comment section of this video. And if you found it helpful, click the like button for me. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. Thank you very much for watching. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.